Are you a songwriter? Are you looking to turn your songwriting passion into a full-time gig? Whether you are just at the start of your songwriting journey or a seasoned industry professional, this show is made for you. Welcome to the Songwriter Show, bringing together songwriting news, interviews, and community. Now, welcome your host, Sarantos.
Thank you for tuning in, and welcome back to the Songwriter Show, right here on Reality Radio 101. I'm your host, Sarantos. I'm a solo music artist who's been writing lyrics for as long as I can remember. Words are just so important to me, and that's why I'm thrilled to host this show for you every single Tuesday. I believe in my heart that every single song is a story. My guest tonight is John McDonough. With intricate guitar work, passionate vocals, and engaging lyrics, John has honed a modern singer-songwriter sound rarely heard. Since retiring from psychotherapy in 2011, he's released 5 CDs of original music, played over 500 gigs, performed in 11 music festivals, and made several appearances on local and national radio.
And now, welcome this week's special guest.
Welcome to the show, John. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So we've talked quite a bit ago, but tell the audience a little bit about where you're from and what you're doing, man.
So I am outside of Chicago. I've been here about a year and a half after living in Austin, Texas for 25 years. So a big change about a year and a half ago.
Okay. What made you leave?
It was several things, really. You know, I've been in Austin for 25 years, and I sort of was feeling a little itchy for a change. And my whole family lives in this area, so I wanted to be closer to them. And also, I felt like my music would go over better here and the East Coast. And so I wanted to be more in this region for playing in general, but also specifically for touring up and down the East Coast.
Yeah, okay. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with your music. You got anything new?
I do. I'm very excited. I have an EP coming out on June 17th, and it's called We'll Answer the Call. And it's a concept EP that tells the story of Joe Rance, the Washington Husky rowing team, and their epic bid to win gold in the 1936 Berlin Olympic Games. Have you heard of the book, The Boys in the Boat by Dan Brown? And so it's based on that. It's just an unbelievable true story of, it focuses mostly on the one young man, Joe Rance, who just had an unbelievably difficult childhood, somehow made it through that and got himself into college where he got on the rowing team in the University of Washington in Seattle. And then that's just a whole nother story that's fascinating. That team of college kids went to Berlin in 1936 and won gold. And so it's just a story that I've been obsessed with for several years.
Yeah.
And I just was so into it that I decided to write this EP that tells the complete story in 5 songs.
That's exciting.
Thanks, yeah.
Tell our audience a little, John, refresh, some of them might be listening for the first time here. What instrument do you play and how did you get into music?
Sure. Well, I play the guitar and I sing. And I always loved to sing. Even just as a little kid, I would crank my stereo in my bedroom and sing along at the top of my lungs. And then I started taking guitar lessons when I was about 12 and studied piano performance in college for a couple of years. But now I just play the guitar and I sing.
Okay. What do you think is the coolest thing that's going to happen to the world this year? Any predictions?
Oh my gosh. You mean besides my EP coming out
yes.
on June 17th?
That's right. Outside of that, yes.
Okay, well that... Oh my gosh, good question. Well, oh boy, maybe I shouldn't say this. Ukraine winning the war would be a pretty cool thing. I would enjoy seeing that, I have to admit. So I'd say first my EP coming out, second the Ukraine winning the war.
Okay. How about in music? You got any cool stuff happening other than your EP? Any shows, any gigs, anything that you got coming up for the fans?
I'm excited because I have a lot of shows coming up in the area, again, in the north of Chicago area. You know, with summer coming and, everyone's getting outside and wanting to have music again. And I'm excited because I haven't toured in over 2 years because of COVID.
Yeah.
So, and I have a little RV that I love to tour in. I plan on hitting the road in late fall and hopefully, like I said, hitting the East Coast. And I'm just really looking forward to that. So hopefully October, I will be doing that. And hopefully COVID will not come back for the third time and ruin that again.
So, John, I got to confess, I'm very jealous right now that I heard you have an RV. You're like living the dream, man. I wish I could just RV across America, just playing gigs and having a good time. But,
I'll tell you, I bought this RV. Geez, it was about 4 years ago, and I was panicked buying it because I was like, am I really? And it's small. Like I said, it's small, and I was like, am I really going to be able to live in this thing? Is this just this craziest thing? And most people I knew were telling me that I was stupid.
Yeah.
But I have had a blast in it. I've been all over the country in it, and I've been out, for probably like 3 weeks at the most, and then I come back home. But it's just been a blast. It's made life so much easier on the road, and I feel very lucky to have it. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
So what are you binge watching? Anything on Netflix or Hulu that you want to share with the fans?
Nothing worthwhile. And because I just finished something on Netflix. It's a show it takes place in Spain, and I can't even think of the name of it right now. That's how it was not that engaging. Unfortunately, I have not really been seeing anything that's been, I would love to say that I've been like really into something, but I've been struggling to find something, to be honest. It doesn't seem like there's a lot out there right now at least it's not captivating me.
Yeah, I've actually started watching movies. I've gone to like 1 or 2 movies in the last few months, but I've just on iTunes, I've rented. So there's, Hollywood's kind of back in production. So it's interesting, I love Netflix, I love Hulu, I love Apple TV, but you get tired of, I feel like it's kind of overload. I feel like the same thing people probably felt with music, that now with videos and movies and TV shows, there's just so much content out there.
There is. And I don't know if you do this, but sometimes I'll go to Amazon Prime or Netflix or both. And it'll be like an hour and a half later and I'm still searching for something to watch. There's just, like you said, there's so much stuff out there.
There really is.
I've spent the whole evening looking for something to watch instead of watching something.
I'll tell you what I've done lately, which is I'm a multitasker. I'm always doing 100 things. But lately, instead of having like Netflix or something going and working and doing I've kind of turned everything off. And I kind of feel, not that I was a stressed or a nervous kind of guy, but I feel like so much more clarity. Things are just simpler, easier. And I feel like I've just tuned out all the background noise, and I've actually been a lot more productive, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm pretty good at that too. I'll focus all day at what I need to do. And then at the end of the night, starting maybe, like around 8:30, that's when I'll be like, okay, I'm done. And I'm just going to chill out in front of the TV for an hour or two before I go to bed.
Yeah.
And so that's when I try to find something good to watch. But and I do like hockey a lot. So I watch a fair amount of the NHL hockey, and especially with the playoffs going on right now.
Sure.
But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it's good to have 18 things going on at the same time. Noise wise. If I'm trying to work, I hate having the TV going in the background or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. So tell us a little bit about the coolest thing that's happened to you at a live gig that you want to share with us. Any cool stories?
Sure, because there's been a couple, so I just want to pick the best one. I'll tell this one because it still moves me. So I have a song that I wrote, and it's based on this place I went to in Berlin called the New Guard House. And I just have to tell the backstory real fast so the story makes sense. But it's a monument to World War II victims, and it's a stone statue inside this building. Underneath the statue are the unknown remains of a German soldier and the unknown remains of a Holocaust victim. And they're buried in dirt from Auschwitz. And I wrote a song about that because it moved me so much. And basically in the song, it's the soldier and the Holocaust victim sort of talking to each other. I played that at a gig one night in Texas, and there was a couple there with their adult son who was severely autistic.
Okay.
During the middle of the song, he couldn't speak, and so he got the chair in front of him, and he started to sort of bang it on the ground, and he started to make these noises, and I wasn't sure what was going on, but I just kept playing, and he understood the song, and he was so moved by it. That was sort of his only way to express himself, and he had one of those mechanisms, because he had to spell out words to his parents since he couldn't speak. And he spelled out, "They're talking to each other in the grave." And I was just so moved by that he sort of got it. He understood what was going on. And also that he was just so moved by it.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And so I always remember that. And I always, even though it was obviously sort of disruptive to an extent, but in this case, obviously, it didn't bother me because it was sort of a positive disruption,
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
I just always appreciated that because I play a lot of gigs in places like bars and restaurants, where people are sort of half listening.
Sure.
To have someone who I didn't realize was understanding the songs and have him not only understand it but appreciate it, meant a lot to me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool.
Yeah.
John, tell us about this song we're going to hear. What inspired it?
Sure. So again, it's from this new EP, and I tell the complete story of Joe Rance, and the first song on the EP talks about his childhood. And he meets a girl in high school and they fall in love, and they end up going to college together, and they end up getting married and having kids. And she just was a huge savior for him. So the second song on the EP is about him and this girl at the time when they're in college, and just about their love affair. And he sort of saves her too. She had a difficult childhood too. So they were there for each other. They obviously just had such a huge positive impact on each other at the time and for the rest of their lives. And so that's what this song is about. It's about their love story.
Okay, that's really cool. I'll tell you what, let's check it out and we'll come back and talk, okay?
Great.
All right, everybody, check this out. Here we go.
Come on, baby, and take my hand. Let's go down to the river's edge. We've been waiting for spring to come. It's been too long since we've seen the sun. And I love you, just for you. It'll never change no matter what you do. She says, and you were always wild and free, and somehow loved me, just for me. Your little white dress falling off your shoulder. Let's roll around on these four-leaf clovers. We just get better as we get older. We'll remember this day when life's almost over. And I love you, just for you. It'll never change no matter what you do. She says, and you were always wild and free, and somehow loved me, just for me. Just for you. Oh yeah, love me just for me. And I will never let you go, she says. One day we'll have a nice warm home, a couple of kids playing at our feet. And when you sing, I'll add the harmony. And I love you, just for you. It'll never change no matter what you do. She says, and you were always wild and free, and somehow loved me, just for me. And I love you, just for you. It'll never change no matter what you do. She says, and you were always wild and free, and somehow loved me, just for me. Oh, love you just for you. Oh yeah, love me just for me.
That was a really cool song, John. Thanks for sharing that with me and the audience tonight.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, what were you like in high school? Do you dare confess the reality of what happened to you? Or actually, I guess we wouldn't know, right? So you could totally make something up.
No, well, I will tell you what I was like in high school, but I have to preface this with, I don't know how you feel, but I am so thankful that we did not have phones back then. And we did not have social media. And because I mean, I'm just so thankful that things I said and did are not recorded or put out there in any way, shape, or form.
You mean you're not happy they're not around forever?
Yes, I am very happy they are not around forever, and I'm very happy that only a few select saw them instead of who knows how many. I don't envy kids these days because you have to be careful. But I actually I did not have a very easy or good time in high school. I had to move around a lot. And so I went to 3 different high schools in 3 different states my 4 years of high school. So pretty much I felt like the whole time I was missing my friends and trying to make new friends. And then I would make new friends and we'd move and I'd start that process over. And then it happened for a 3rd time. So I was a little bit angry, especially towards the end of high school, a little bit rebellious. And yes, and then I also, I'll say this, the day I didn't even go to my own high school graduation, I took my last, my final exam. I remember, went home, packed my car, and left the next morning. And so I was pretty excited to get out of the town I was living in at that time and get going with the next stage of life.
I hear ya. Okay. All right.
I wasn't a bad kid, but I was, it was sort of a tough time, and I was a little bit angry and rebellious.
I get it. I kind of feel bad I see some kids, they kind of peak in high school.
Yeah.
And high school is a little tough for me too, but I never felt like that was like the end all be all.
Right.
So I kind of feel bad because 10 years, 20 years later, you look at some of these kids and they truly did peak in high school, and I kind of feel bad for them. And these are sometimes the really popular kids that everyone thought they had it all together, but it's the complete opposite.
That's so true. And that's so funny. I'll tell it just a quick story. For 10th grade and half of 11th grade, we lived in San Antonio, Texas. And that was probably my favorite place. I really liked it there. I was a tennis player and I was on a really good tennis team, but that was a really good time. I remember just what you were saying, though, like being involved with athletics and being sort of bullied by the football players and blah, blah, blah. We moved away and I went back several years later. I think I was towards the end of my college at that time and hanging out with a friend. And some of those same football players showed up at this party I was at, and they had nothing going on. And I remember thinking, wow, they are not who they used to be. And at that time, I was finishing out college. And again, things were looking really bright for me and I was feeling good about things. And so to your point, that can definitely happen. And I saw it firsthand where I was like, wow, these guys, they don't have anything going on anymore. And, the future's not looking real bright.
Well, ultimately, I want everyone to be happy and make it. And it's just really interesting sometimes how things turn.
Exactly. High school is it's an interesting time, right?
Yeah, that's probably that's the biggest understatement of the year. You should write a song about that.
Exactly.
High school is an interesting time, just like that. That's a great melody.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so I have a final question. I have 2 final questions for you.
Sure.
Tell the audience what inspires you.
I always joke about this, that my life is really boring. And I mean that in a good way. There's very little drama in my life. Things are very stable right now, and it's great. But, that means also I don't have a ton to write about. I read books constantly. I watch a lot of documentaries. And so I draw a lot of inspiration from things like that, from other people who have lived lives that are really interesting and have experienced things that I could never experience. And an example of that is this new EP, this kid rowing, going to the 1936 Berlin Games and all that what was going on in Germany at the time. I mean, these are just things obviously I have never experienced and would never experience. And so I draw a lot of inspiration from the people that have been through things and excel despite their hardship.
Yeah, no, I get you. Okay.
And I write a lot about other people, Yeah.
Listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
And no, I don't either. I feel good about it. I just feel like there's so many people out there who have stories to tell, interesting lives that are worth sharing. And if I can sort of help, if I can do that a little bit for those people, I feel like I'm sort of doing a positive service,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I totally get it. All right, John, give us your website, your socials. Where can people reach out to you? Where can they listen to your stuff, buy it?
Yes. So my name is John McDonough, and I realize that's a mouthful and sort of hard to spell. So I did something to make it easy on people. I set up a Twitter account, and it's John M Live. So JOHN M Live. And if you go there, the very first tweet, it's a pinned tweet, and it has my website, my Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. And then you can pick and choose where to follow me based on that. But that makes it easy, I think. So just go to John M Live on Twitter. The very first tweet, you'll see my website, Facebook, Instagram, and I think even a few other things. And then, like I said, then whatever you like to do, that's how you can choose to follow me, and I'd appreciate that.
That's awesome, John. So I want to thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Hey, it's been great. Thank you, and I hope you're well. It's been about a year since we spoke, so I hope everything is good with you as well.
Yeah, thank you, John. So John and I thank everyone for listening tonight and spending a little bit of time with us. If anybody out there wishes to be on the Songwriter Show, please reach out to me. To all the fans out there, thank you again for listening. We both hope your own unique story gets heard around the world. My name is Sarantos. Please join me every Tuesday night to hear other amazing artists share their fascinating behind-the-scenes stories right here at the Songwriter Show on Reality Radio 101. Have a great night, everybody. I love you guys.
for listening to The Songwriter Show. To keep the momentum going, head over to www.songwritershow.com and join our free music community of artists, songwriters, and producers. That's www.songwritershow.com.
This program was mixed and mastered by Landis Maitland Whitelaw at landismaitlandwhitelaw.com.